and welcome back to another episode of the Branching Out podcast. This week, we're joined by Daniel Grix. He's our landscape design and energy director here at Ground Control. So we'll be talking all things land-based today. So let's just get started. Welcome, Daniel. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Jessica. Pleasure to be here.
Yep. The sun is shining where we are today. We're lucky with the weather today. It's been a bit of a mixed bag, but hopefully that will bring a bit of brightness to the podcast as well for everyone if they are driving and listening to this in the middle of the rain. We're in the middle of sunshine. So
It is a particularly nice day.
Obviously, we're getting going with the growing season, but really your work is probably all year round, if I had to guess. So could you give us a little bit of, obviously, landscape design energy, there's a lot there. So can you give us a little bit about, what your area covers for those who aren't maybe familiar, who work in other areas of the business, and give us a bit of a brief of what you guys get up to?
Yes, certainly. So I'm the divisional director for landscape design and energy, rebranded back in September 2023 when I joined. Actually, it was landscape construction back then. But now landscape construction, whilst it's still 70% of the divisional output, we have professional services in there. So we have an arboricultural professional service consultancy. We also have a landscape design consultancy. We also have GC Energy Solutions. So GC Energy Solutions is the previous EV infrastructure business, rebranded in April 2024 to be GC Energy Solutions. And that was an evolution of that particular business where it's gone from EV installation to infrastructure to also decarbonisation, so PV installation, etc., and decarbonisation of buildings in terms of their, not their building fabric, but in terms of their energy usage. And that was as a response to clients and what they wanted. It's a very, very challenging role. It's fair to say that we've had a tough 24/36 months. I feel that this year, with FY25, just about to close the financial year, has been a really, really successful stabilisation year. I'm sure we'll ask more questions about that later, but I think it's been a great year. And I'm very lucky to have a really, really great team working with me to deliver our budget and what we do within LDE. It's a fantastic team, and I'm really proud of them.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of change is what it sounds like. I mean, I've been with the business for 10 years now, so I've been to a construction site with landscape, and that is kind of my head, is landscape construction is that, but really what you're saying there is especially in the last 24 months, it sounds like we really have mixed it up and are answering client needs and diversifying even more so than maybe we've done in the past to of support our clients better.
Yeah, I think GC in general, the diversification of the business and the sector that we work in, it has grown, changed, it's very agile. And I think that's the same to be said for landscape construction and LDE. Landscape construction, like I said earlier, is still the mainstay of the landscape LDE business. And all the clients that we work for are particularly very, very varied. And we've got the project side of that business, which is going from strength to strength at the moment, and we've got the traditional landscape side of the business, which again, more kind of soft planting, which is going from strength to strength. But you need to diversify. And that's what we've been doing. And, it's growing that diversification, and even diversification in terms of sector delivery within the landscaping business is changing. So this year, we've introduced a green roof and green living wall side of the business, which is still in its infancy, but that's, again, something that our clients have requested, and it also adds to our credentials in terms of sustainability as well, and it ties in also very neatly with PV installation on roofs, which our GC Energy Solutions business delivers. So we are kind of becoming that kind of one-stop solution for our clients, which is, again, what they want.
Yeah, exactly. You go to sometimes even a big Sainsbury's now because you can get like everything for your home, your groceries. Like that is almost like we're becoming like that one big shop that'll just suit all your needs, which is great. It's exciting to hear. It's exciting times. So obviously you've been managing a lot of change and a lot of growth in the last 36 months or so since you've started at Ground
Yeah.
Control. What does, I guess, to give people a bit of an insight, what is your role, or what does your week look like as the sector director for landscape design and energy? What do you get up to?
So I'd like to say that my diary is quite fixed because that's the type of person that I am. Anybody that's in tune with their insights. I'm a blue, leading with
Okay.
blue into a red, like the detail.
Oh, we're very similar then, it sounds.
Love the detail, love an agenda, like to know what's going on,
Yep.
and I do like to plan things out quite thoroughly. And I actually said that, I'm always in Billericay on a Tuesday. I'm 99% in London on a Wednesday and a Thursday as well, and that's when the majority of my contact and the meetings that we have come into place. Mondays are very much of a catch-up day with the team. And then into Billericay on Tuesdays, very, very kind of rigid diary in terms of meetings. The same with Wednesdays and Thursdays, and Fridays again is again catching up with the team and trying to get out as much as I possibly can. I am a stickler for an agenda, like I've just said, so that my weeks don't particularly vary much week on week. Obviously, with the SLT and our Exco meetings, the last Thursday in the month as well, they're quite challenging days. But yeah, I mean, I like to see as many people as possible, and we have our LDE town halls, and I always say to the guys and girls out there that come and see me, because I do actually thrive off seeing people and getting to know them individually. So again, I'll put it out there on this podcast that if you're about on a Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday, come and see me, because I'd love to buy you lunch or buy you a drink and get to know you better, because I think face-to-face contact and that collaboration really does make the world go round.
Okay, so that's open to everyone in your division to come and speak to you. So when did you introduce that into your division?
So I to be honest, I've ever since I started Ground Control, I've always been quite proactive in getting out and meeting people, and I do like it. I do thrive off it. And we've got 100. I'm going to say about 105, 107 people within LDE at the moment directly employed, and it's not the biggest division, but it's not the smallest as well. So there's a lot of people to get out, and I think the geographical location of some of the employees is a challenge, and I can't see everybody. But yeah, getting to know people is definitely the way forward, and it just makes life much easier.
Does that help you to get your kind of like, you hear then more what's going on, because where you're obviously trying to keep the strategy and keep the big picture going, does that kind of help you hear about any sort of issues or exciting things going on at site level or a project level?
Yeah, I mean, let's face it, you don't get to hear what's going on a Teams meeting, do you? So being out in the thick of things, whether that's being on site or in the office with people, and actually hearing people discuss the issues, and issues discussed are easily rectified. So it does make all the difference.
Yeah, that's good. That's a great tip, I think, for other directors and other people that are managing maybe large groups of people. That town hall, I like that. That's great. So we are talking at the end, well, mid-March, I guess. I'm not gonna rush time because it is nearly the end of the financial year. So looking back at the last financial year, has there been any really exciting projects or maybe challenges that you guys have really overcome in the last year that you would like to share?
So I think as we entered into this current financial year, I'd be fair to say that we didn't have a great work in hand, although we did have quite a lot of projects that we're bringing in, but we're also bringing in quite a lot of problems as well, and bad debt, which we've managed to eradicate quite early on. So this year has definitely been a stabilisation year. Energy solutions, I'll start there. It was another tough year in terms of revenue generation. However, the team has done an absolutely sterling job as we go into next year. We've got a really, really strong order book. We've got a number of frameworks that we're actually on. We've got some great work coming from Total Energies. We have some good order books coming from them as well. And Connected Curb, one of the frameworks which we've got to start delivering. So we're working with Surrey County Council and Connected Curb in partnership to deliver some on-street charging for them. And I think there's a lot of hard work's gone into energy solutions this year by the team, and I think it's really set them up for next year for a really, really great year, and hopefully that will then follow through into FY27 as well once we get the operational delivery in place. Landscape construction, again, like I said, we did have a few challenges coming into the year. I have to say, economically, we came out of quite a distressed time, which has been difficult. We're now entering a little bit more of I'd say a better time in terms of public spending, and hopefully that will pay dividend as we go forward. But I think, again, the team has worked remarkably well to make sure that we've got work in hand going into next year. Our margins right now within the division have been probably the best margin they've been for many, many years, which shows great kind of pre-con and then operational delivery as well. And everybody's worked just so hard this year. Professional services, not going to forget them. They've challenging. It's quite well known within GC our struggles with our ecology team, and there's some news came out last week about that we're actually transferring the ecology team to Ram Sanderson, one of our partners, to kind of develop them a little bit more. So that's what's going to happen with the ecology team. But we are retaining the arboriculture, and we are retaining the landscape design. And our focus now is to grow and continue to grow those particular consultancies, whilst looking for other avenues of revenue that which we can look at. But yeah, I think this year, stabilization year. Next year, we're going to absolutely smash it. That's what I tell everybody. And the confidence is there. I'm very much I'm feeling confident as we go into the end of this particular financial year, and hopefully it will pay dividends for next year.
Yeah, you've got the foundations in place to really grow for 2025. I almost want to keep saying 2024 for some reason, but no, we're in 2025.
One thing that I would say, Jessica, as well, is that I think the divisions is only as good as the people that working there. And I think what I have noticed as we've gone through from when I started, we've got a very kind of collaborative working environment now, and very, very joined up in terms of cross-departmental operation, and everybody just wants success. And I think we've got a really strong, like you say, foundation to take that through into next year.
Yeah. So how do you you got your town halls, and you've got obviously your probably regular touch points with your area. So how do you encourage and maintain that collaboration?
So obviously we have it all starts on myself and the SLT. And their SLTs as well. So they're obviously in the business units as well. And we do act like one business. There's no particular hierarchy, and that's something that I'm very keen to kind of deliver. We're all one team, and we're all working together to deliver the same outcome. And we've got the LDE town halls the first Tuesday in every month. We have our operational meetings, the site meetings, the SLTs, and it is very much, I'm going to say, kind of open book, but we do speak to each other an awful lot. I probably speak to my SLT, I'm not going to say more than my wife, but quite a lot.
Oh yeah,
and I think
trouble there.
Yeah, and I think that's the way it needs to be. We're always discussing ideas. We're also always discussing problems. We're also always looking into the future. Looking back, of course, at what went wrong and how can we then change that for the future. But I think we've got a real positive attitude and the openness to talk as well, which is really, really important.
Yeah, now we talk about psychological safety a lot in training, and being able to share your issues and collaborate over them and not feel like you're in your own little silo trying to solve it by yourself. That's how you succeed, is being able to do it together. So I'll flip that on you, I guess, and looking at maybe the first quarter of the next financial year starting in a few weeks' time, are there anything you're particularly excited about?
I think the closure of any financial year is tough, and it's also always nice as you go into the new financial year to have a little bit of a breather. I think what I'm looking forward to this year is very much to see how we can operationally deliver the work that we've got for GC Energy Solutions. That really is kind of, whilst the backbone of the business is the landscape construction business, GC Energy Solutions, it actually kind of it delivers for us quite a lot of profit in terms of the revenue. And I think that is going to be make or break again for this year, like it has for the last kind of few years. And I think as we go into next year, I really want that to succeed. We need to get off to a great start. I would do in landscape construction as well. I think the weather looks favourable. I'm looking for the diversification aspect as well. Q1 and Q2 is notoriously quiet, not in GC Energy Solutions, but it will be in landscape construction. And we have been working very, very hard to kind of diversify our revenue streams to make sure that we have a little bit more of a consistent delivery program in place, and we're not so heavily focused on Q3 and Q4. Having said that, I said that last year, and this year Q4 will be our busiest quarter by far if we deliver the numbers that we are forecast to deliver, and as I sit here today, we are going to deliver those numbers. It will be a record-breaking quarter. So
congratulations, well done.
No, it's good, but it's hard, and that puts a lot of stress on the teams as well. So we do need to kind of iron out that peaks and troughs and seasonality, and you can only get that from diversification.
Yeah, exactly. And that's really, you've got the foundation in place for that, and you're ready to go, it sounds like. So I'm gonna change topics switch a little bit. We'll come back to the future, I think, towards the end. Would you say there are any, I guess, misconceptions or stereotypes about your division that you would like to debunk?
Oh, definitely. So look, we LDE, since I joined in September 2023, and LDE because let's say landscape construction always been the brunt of most people's jokes in terms of profitability and the sustainability of the division. What I would say is that it's a robust division. We are a construction division at the heart of the division, and margins are generally lower because of the industry that we work for and the clients that we do work for as well. A lot of tier one clients. We are very, very good at margin delivery compared to our peers. And I think that that's something that we should be very, very proud of. I think LDE is not a poor relation to the business. LDE is the backbone of that because it's a great cash generator. And because it's a great cash generator, it allows the business to go off and do other things, because obviously we're generating the cash that allows the company to go off and do, I wouldn't say riskier, but operations that perhaps the revenue recognition isn't as quick as it is for LDE. So I'm really proud of that. And you always need a part of any business that is a cash generator. Our debt level is very, very low, and we've worked very, very hard, and Mark Wood, my commercial director, has worked tirelessly over the last kind of 18 months to make sure that our debt is very, very low. And it's something else I'm really, really proud of. So hats off to Mark and everybody else in his team. So I think my job now is to kind of lose that rhetoric of the poor relation. I want LDE to be at the forefront of success, and I think we have that now within our grasp. And I'm certain that FY26 is going to be a great year for us to get back on that kind of upward trajectory.
Yeah, you're building to success. You're literally building to success.
Exactly.
Is there anything else? I guess we're gonna switch on to you as a director in a moment.
Yeah.
No pressure. But before we do that, is there anything you think that the business really should know about at the moment when it comes to landscape design or energy?
I think at the moment we've got we're working on some great projects. We've got some great clients. We're really kind of gearing ourselves up for success, and we just need to operationally deliver what we've got. And I think as we look forward, like I said previously, we've got a great future in front of us. I want to carry that forward. I mean, my aim has always been to kind of it's not a 12-month business or a 24-month business. My past, where I've come from, is very, very different to this in landscape construction, and indeed GC as a whole. So I want to start looking further ahead, 36 months, 48 months, 5 years. Let's start looking ahead. Let's start planning for the future, and let's start building the foundations now that can start kind of that delivery process for many, many years to come.
Yep, Rome wasn't built in a day.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I'm going to switch gears a little bit. We are the L&D team that run this podcast. So we like to talk about development, whether it's your personal development, or I guess where you are, everyone needs to continuously learn, in our opinion, and in order to really succeed in the nature of business today. So I guess, is there anything that you focus on yourself in as far as staying on top of industry, know-how and knowledge and new things coming, and I guess you development wise, is there things that you are focused on in the next year that you are wanting to I guess grow or improve in yourself?
I think I did go to university, and my actual degree was in quantity surveying. So I'm a QS by background. Probably that what dictates my blue in my insights in terms of my knowledge base as we go forward. And I spent 25 years in construction and house building, which was really good for me in terms of my career development and my career progression, but also my knowledge, my contractual awareness, and my skill set. What I have done more than anything is learn from the people around me. It's great having the qualifications and actually having the knowledge, but learning from the people behind you, a bit around you, and how they behave and conduct themselves is really, really important. I've always tried to be a great kind of supporter and actually learn from people. And I'm definitely not people that have worked with me. And I say with me, not for me, because I prefer the word with me rather than for me, because I'm not that kind of person. I like people to be involved in the conversation, and I get as much out of any relationship and working relationship than they get out as well. So it's a two-way street. And what I would say is that in terms of my career progression going forward, I'm nearly 50. I'm not saying I'm over the hill, but what I want to do is there's a lot of people in the business that I would say have got a really great future ahead of them. And I think if I can do one thing now, would be to impart my knowledge on them to make sure that they can really achieve the pinnacle of their careers.
Yeah, no, there's something to be said for social learning and in making sharing knowledge within your division and even outside the division amongst your exec team. There is something definitely to be said for social learning, and that is a key role in really improving business as well. So definitely agree with that. Right, and I've got one more question to end on. We've talked a lot about, the last year building up in the division, and we talked a little bit about the immediate future. But what's I guess the long-term plan for maybe the next 5 years? We'll benchmark it there. What are your next 5 years looking like? What goals do you have?
I think the next 5 years are going to be probably more important than the last 12 to 18 months, because what we need to do is make sure that we carry on the path that we've set ourselves on. There's no doubt that it's quite cyclical in terms of the economy and what happens in our markets, and the construction arena is no different to anywhere else really. So we're in a good place. I see lots of opportunity. I think the stabilization year is kind of behind us, and now it's time for us to grow. But not lose sight of what's important. And for me, what's important is good quality profit, making sure that everybody's safe, everybody goes home safely, and that everybody comes to work and enjoys themselves. Because what I found this year is that, by putting together and actually working as a team, what we have done is generate some really, really good feeling within the division, and that really does show in terms of their productivity. So as we carry on the next 5 years, it's definitely what the focus is to just keep going, keep doing what we're doing, and turning the division into greatness again.
Sounds like a solid plan. I like it. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today, and I hope to catch up with you again soon.
Thanks, Jessica.
And thank you again for listening to this episode of the Branching Out podcast. If you'd like to get involved in the podcast, please reach out to myself or anyone in the training team. Until next time, take care.